Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 674 for the 29th of December. I just want to highlight there is a heavy missile exchange between Russia and Ukraine. Russia launched massive missile and drone strike on Ukraine, and Ukraine launched a counter strike on Russian territory, I believe in the Belgorod region, and I will not be talking about it because there's nothing much to talk about. No, I already tell you about it. They strike each other. That's it. So, over in the southern front, a major development, I would say, is based on one geolocation. There is this geolocation over in the area of what is it called? Krynishanka. Krynishanka, there is this geolocation by Krynky Caprice. The video that was geolocated is of Iris-T anti-aircraft system, missile system, that was destroyed by the Iskandar missile. So the Iskandar missile dropped on the position at super high speed. In that video is amazing, and so this Iris-T has been destroyed. Previously, I have hypothesized that it could be a Patriot system that was deployed in this region that resulted in at least one aircraft, Russian aircraft, that was destroyed. Reportedly, it was like two or three, two or three. I can't remember. So basically, the distance between Krynishanka to the front line is around 30 to around just off 30 kilometers, and so Iris-T. So I just talked a bit of Iris-T. Iris-T is actually using the a missile that is similar to the AIM-9, the Sidewinder. So Sidewinder is an air-to-air missile. It was the missile system is kind of adapted for Iris-T. It's a short range surface-to-air missile system. So it's not considered long range. It's only have a 40 kilometers range. 40 kilometers. So this curve here that you're looking at, this is the 40 kilometers. So from that position, the anti-aircraft system basically covers Krynky, the Krynky beachhead, and also so let me draw. So this is where this is used like a different kind. This is the where the surface to air missile system is. So basically this is the kind of coverage that is providing, and it basically covers some of the major settlements along the Dnipro River, for example Kakhovka, Nova Kakhovka, and Dnipryani, Kosonka, Krynky, as well as Kozache Lahire. And it also protects the Ukrainian position over at Britislav, Zimka, Mykolaievka, Kozatske, Tyahinka, Ivanivka, Love, Tokarivka, as well as some of these other ones that is along this river here. And so particularly for those around this area here, there's a lot of Ukrainian forces, including artillery system, mortar system, that is gathering around this region, either to prepare for a crossing, the forces gathering for a crossing, or they are providing fire support at the Krynky region in support of the beachhead. So this is actually definitely in range. Of course, this for Iris-T is the system is not long range enough to shoot out the aircraft that was being mentioned. So I suspect that there might be still other systems around. I don't think this is the only one there, because the Russian aircraft was shot down over Chaplinka, which is actually a bit far. So we're gonna have to wait and see. I believe there should be still another one or two more surface-to-air missile system that is helping Ukrainians to defend this area here, because the Russian aircraft don't really fire they don't drop their bombs so near to the front line. Basically, they are dropping around here. So because they have the glide system for the bomb to glide to target. So we should see another surface-to-air missile system, and I don't think it's an Iris-T. The Iris-T is providing a close support, and in the end, it still got spotted by FPV drones, and the FPV drone was watching the entire strike. So it just shows that how difficult the war is in today's age, where our advanced surface-to-air missile system and the radar system is unable to capture or take down these small little drones that is flying all over the place. So I'm not sure what kind of drone the Russians are using, because the drone did fly 30 to 40 kilometers. It could be some that one of that drone start with I cannot remember the name. Yeah, it could be some kind of surveillance drone. It could be another Lancet. We're not sure. So anyway, I just want to highlight this is very interesting, because we are definitely, I believe the OSINT community is all trying to look out, especially on the pro-Russian side. What is the Ukrainians that brought to this front line to shoot down the Russian aircraft? So I think this is a very, very interesting note. Otherwise, the Russians continue to use Lancet, at this position at Metroslovka got destroyed by Lancet, and then they also have and other artillery strikes against multiple Ukrainian targets off Tiahinka and Ivanivka. And over at this Krynky itself, Krynky is getting hit by the TOS-1A, the thermobaric missile systems. Basically, this is quite scary, because I think anyone who understood what it is actually should know how scary it is. And Russian forces is not known to really push at it, although the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reports that the Russians conducted 9 different assaults. So in that sense, we can imagine maybe the Russians are indeed attacking, if you believe what the pro-Ukrainian source or the Ukrainian Defense Ministry say. But ultimately, from my perspective, it looks like the Russians are just shelling them to infinity. There's no reason to do assault. There's no need to risk your soldiers. But anyway, this is what it is over at the Kherson Front. Moving on to the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is Zaporizhzhia's city, and this is the Zaporizhzhia Front. Over at the Zaporizhzhia Front, at the Orikhiv sector, this is the Orikhiv salient. The Russian forces continue their counteroffensive over at Robotine, west of Verbove and northwest of Verbove. The main push is mainly over at the west and west part of Verbove. There is only one geolocation being geolocated in the area, which is actually over along the road, the highway towards Robotine. FPV drones basically hit a Ukrainian soldier. I didn't really watch the whole footage because it's kind of pointless. It's not a very important location. So it just shows that this entire road is still a death trap, definitely for now. But the main push, like I mentioned, is over in the Verbove, where the Russians are pushing westward as well in the northwest position. So this is all from the Orikhiv sector. We have nothing over at the Velika Novosilka sector. There was no mention about the Russian push towards the south of Novoderivka. So as I mentioned in the previous SITREP, this is probably just a one-off raiding. So nothing very sustained. We move into the Donetsk Front. This is the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, the fighting continues to be remaining around the Marinka Novomikhailivka region. Over at Novomikhailivka, the Russians, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, carry out 5 different attacks. But no one else is talking about any Russian push, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. What we do have is the geolocation of surface air-to-surface missiles on Ukrainian positions, as well as Russian airstrikes. So this continues to be a very severely bombarded city at this moment. There is no Russian push as far as I can tell. You can take Ukrainian claims if you want to that there was an attack, but I don't think so, because I think the Russians has kind of given up. Maybe there might be a weather issue, because across the entire front line, the number of assaults being reported is also a lot lesser. So it could be a weather situation. It could also be the Russians are regrouping, trying to think again what should they do, because they have sort of failed to break through after sacrificing quite a number of troops and vehicles and equipments. They are unable to break through because of a very strong Ukrainian defense position over at Novomikhailivka. And I believe that the troops at Novomikhailivka is probably also better trained. So it's not those mobilized troops that are just there to be cannon fodder, sitting in the trench waiting to die. So that could be the case. Over the Marinka region, the Russian forces continue to be reported to be fighting around the Marinka region. Particularly, it's only on the Ukrainian side that's talking about this. Deep State UA mentioned something more specific. They say that the Russian forces is pushing southwest of Marinka in the direction of Avdiivka. So so basically what is happening is that the Russians are pushing out in this area, probably along the highway, and they are pushing, let me use another color. They're pushing in the direction of Avdiivka or Georgievka or Georgievka or something like that. So this is a current situation that is happening. Most likely the Russians are trying to move down this highway. So anyway, that's all from the Donetsk Front. We move on into the Avdiivka Front. This is the Avdiivka Front. This is Avdiivka city. At the Avdiivka Front, the Russians continue their Avdiivka offensive, with fighting reported in the north of Stepove towards Bedaichi, Stepove, over in the south region, over in the Opitne, north of Vodian, probably around Zhevene, Pervomayske, and Nevelske. There is not much details regarding all of this, but I have something to talk about this. But before we go over there, there is a geolocation of Russian shelling of some buildings around in the Khimik district. This is the Khimik or the 9th district. You can see the number 9 over here. So over at this Stepove region, as you can see, the Ukrainian forces continue to hold a strong position around Stepove, and the Russians have been pushing a lot, and they have been trying a lot to attack Stepove, and the Ukrainians continue to hold this very strong line, with the Ukrainians doing counter assaults and firing at the forest line where the Russians are entrenched. So there is a high possibility that the Russians will never be able to take Stepove, not in the very direct sense. So someone in the comments, in the YouTube comments, asked me, I think in a different video, not on the DPA War channel, what is the situation over at Stepove? So so most likely what's happening is that the Russians, so the question was more like, will they ever capture Stepove? My answer, or maybe something like that. So my answer is actually that the Russians is not able to capture Stepove, not that they cannot overrun the position, but is that if they overrun the position, so for example, the Russians overrun this position, okay, they send a lot of troops, a lot of tanks and armored vehicles, they overrun. They cannot hold this line because the Ukrainians are holding these 3 lines and holding this settlement and along the 3 line around here. And if they push through, there is no place to entrench themselves. There is no good entrenchment around Stepove. Even these 3 lines are suspect. And what happened is that they cannot hold a position within Stepove. This is the main reason why I believe the Russians are unable to capture Stepove, because they just can't entrench themselves there. Because whatever, to capture Stepove, you really need to capture this area here, the eastern part of Bedaichi first. As a result, Stepove is basically a no man's land. It's very hard to attack and capture it. It's just not possible to capture it. So the most likely situation is that the Russians will be pushing from the north, which is what is often being reported, and probably go around and attack Bedaichi, capturing Bedaichi before they can overrun Stepove, and then use this clear road to just drive all the way down to Bedaichi. This is probably what is happening. The only way now is actually just to do flanking. They have tried a lot of time doing direct, but if they move direct, they just have no place to entrench themselves. If they don't have no place to entrench themselves, then it's going to be very difficult. And if they entrench there, and then they just get bombarded, then the people will just die for nothing, because it's not a very defendable position. It's not really like this railway line that is much more easier to entrench them yourself. So Bedaichi is much more defensive friendly. There's a 3 line around here, 3 line, heavy some urban area here, more 3 lines. So this Bedaichi is a much more better defensive position. I mean, the Russians can use these 3 lines, but of course this is a very shoot-through place. They can't really hold this place very easily. So we shall see how this goes. And this is something very interesting, because why I want to mention this also, because after I mentioned about this thing yesterday, when I was replying some comments, when I saw those comments, the Deep State UA actually mentioned exactly the same thing. They say that the all the attempts to capture Stepove has been repelled, and the losses are enormous, which I did alluded to, that there is evidence to show that the Russians have taken a lot of losses trying to capture Stepove. And some of the emphasis of their attack is now shifted to the north, which is exactly what I mentioned here, north of Stepove, where they are trying to reach Vedaichi. So the fight is for every landing, which is the 3 lines or the trenches, and the losses are mutually large for both sides. So this is exactly what I was talking about as well. The Russians have tried a lot of time to capture Stepove. They can't, so now they are moving around, doing a flanking movement into Vedaichi, which is a very, very well entrenched position. So we shall see how this progress around at the Stepove region. We move on from the Avdiivka Front. There's nothing over at the New York Front. We move into the Bakhmut Front. So this is Bakhmut city. At the Bakhmut Front, the Russian forces in the southern flank continue to launch their offensive at Avdiivka, and there was fighting reported in the northern part of Klishchiivka. Not much details except that over at the northern part of Klishchiivka region, there is a geolocation of Russian FPV drones attacking Ukrainian soldiers over at this position, which means that the Russians have actually withdrew a bit from this position, probably Ukrainian counterattack, or the Russians just gave up the place and the Ukrainians retook the position along this tree line. So the front line have been adjusted according to this geolocation at this position. So moving further up to the northern flank, at the northern flank, the Russian forces is attacking in the northeastern part of Ivanivsky, along the highway at Bodanivka, as well as in the area northeast of Krychorivka. Information coming from Deep State UA mainly, and so at this region here, there is some interesting developments. Mainly is in the north. There is some quick updates, small updates of the mapping, where the Russians make some progress. I think I can overlay. So you can see the Russians attack and capture some of these tree lines around here. However, other geolocations in the north of Bodanivka shows that the Ukrainians actually have retook the tree line again. So this tree line must be some kind of a gray zone of sort, because this tree line have already been reportedly, exchanging hands a few times already, and some small little changes just off Kromove, with the Russians maybe pushing a bit more around this area here. So another geolocation was this anti-tank guided missile system getting hit by by Russian artillery. So yeah, that's not a significant incident. So that's it from the Bakhmut Front. That over at Siversk Front. At Siversk Front, there is some reports coming from Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, reporting that the Russians are attacking at Spurny region, having I think, is it partial success? No significant success, which means that there are some success. Then Ukrainians are counter-attacking over in the northern part of Spurny. So this is the situation in Spurny. This is a forsaken land, this is like Rohan, So yeah, that's it. The hobbits are running around, and why is these people running around these forsaken lands? Yeah, it's not hobbits. Those are one elf, one dwarf, and a ranger. Yeah. So moving on at Kreminna. This is Kreminna, and this is the Kreminna Front. At the Kreminna Front, there is still exchanges of attacks within the Siversk forestry. Although I have to add, the Russian Defense Ministry wrote near Siversk forestry. So I'm not sure exactly what is that supposed to mean. I don't know where is it. So I'm just going to indicate within the Siversk forestry. But there is attacks coming from both sides. The Russians are also attacking west of Dibrova, according to Deep State UA. But the attack seems to be failing. So Deep State UA say that the Russian tanks are now moving mostly in the rear rather than in the front. There's a geolocation also to highlight this, where a Russian tank was destroyed, I believe, in this video footage which I saw. I didn't see the whole full footage. I did see that the Russian tank was destroyed. Over at the east of Terny, the Russians were attacking, according to Deep State UA as well. Most of the information actually coming in today's report is mostly Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, because The Ukrainian Defense Ministry did not mention a lot of fighting. The Russian Defense Ministry did a weekly sum up, which means that I don't have much information to report from them. So then Ryba totally didn't report much. They are concentrating mostly on the missile strikes. So yeah, so that's not a lot of reports, but we are still 20 minutes. So yeah. So there's nothing over at the Stepove front. We move into the Kupyansk front. This is Kupyansk city. This is the Kupyansk front. At the Kupyansk front, fighting is reported. Let me see. Did I miss anything here? No. There's fighting reported at Sinkivka with the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and Deep State UA both mentioned about the Russian attack in this area here. But this is nothing new, so nothing particularly special about that. So yeah, I believe that is it. I remember reading something about Ivanivka. So did I forget to update this? 28. So no. So yeah, that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 674 for the 29th of December. Again, the year is coming to the end. Do your New Year review. Do your 2023 review. Look at what have you done over the year. Are you happy with it? Anything you should change, improve for the year of 2024. I'm just feeling though very scary that what another year has passed. Yeah, so time flies. And yeah, and do your New Year resolution for 2024. And later tonight, as you can see, it's the daytime. As per this recording, we will have the last DPA open mic over on the open mic channel and the main channel. Do come and join and chit chat together. Yeah, it will be 1 a.m. Singapore time, so I'm not sure what time is it for you. I think it's 12 noon for 12 noon at Eastern time. So yeah, work backwards. So anyway, thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.